I want to ask you a serious question. Do you think you're addicted to social media? Let me ask you a few questions. So number one, how many social media accounts do you have? Number two, how many different social media apps do you have on your phone? And number three, how long have you been on social media today? So let me ask the question again. Do you think you're addicted to social media? Now in today's session, I want to be focusing on social media addiction and how you can better manage it with some of these tips. If you don't know me already, my name is Michael Tabaradi, coach and mentor, and I help self-starters and ambitious millennials actually live aligned to their higher core values, creating more happier moments. Now the whole boom with social media came in the early 2000s with the rise of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and many other apps as well. Now whether you think you're addicted or not, habits make it so. If you want to check out my video on habits, feel free to check it out. Now for me, I'd like to admit, whether I thought I was addicted or not, there's always going to be some element of addiction. And I don't need to talk about dopamine releases and all that kind of stuff. You already know that's what happens because you probably checked your phone about 5 times already. Okay, if you're not already using the phone to watch this YouTube video. With that in mind though, it's important to understand that you can create environments, systems and structures to reduce the routine of actually checking your phone consistently to see if you got a like or a comment or whatever it is that you're looking out for. And so this shows this need in terms of wanting to be loved maybe, or maybe showing this need of maybe feeling lonely, so to speak. And in this cruel world and in this tech savvy world, a lot of this is happening. A lot of us are increasing our anxiety. There's this thing called social media depression, where we really get affected by what we see on the feed of other people's content. And so I've fallen victim to this to some degree. I'm sure you've fallen to this to some degree. And so it's about understanding that rather than being a consumer, maybe you want to be a creator, or maybe you just reduce the consumption. Now, this is not a video to say that you need to stop social media altogether, but I just want to tell you my experiences and tips that I have used in order to help you potentially reduce the social media intake so you can be more productive and focus on what is important, focus on what matters to you. So the first thing is you don't have to use social media on your phone. You can actually use your laptop to actually check out Instagram and Facebook and all these other stuff. Maybe not Snapchat, I'm not really a Snapchat person, but for some of these other social media accounts, maybe you should stick to using your laptop. And what this does is that it starts to reduce the cue that you're looking for in terms of your phone, and also check out that stuff in your laptop, which is more manageable and less, I would say, addictive prone, so to speak. And so maybe focus on looking at social media on your laptop. And so what does that mean in terms of your phone? Well, a number of things. It could potentially mean that you deactivate notifications on your phone, which means that you're not getting controlled by what the phone is doing. You're not getting controlled by the social media algorithm. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is to make sure that you take care of your digital well-being by activating digital well-being mode. Now, for Android users, you'll probably know what that functionality is. For iPhone users, it's probably something slightly different, but I'm sure you have it on your phone as well. So this is where you can go into the settings of your phone and actually activate digital well-being mode, and you can do a number of things. Number one, you can actually set timers for how long you can actually use different social media apps. So let's say, for example, you set 15 minutes for using Instagram on your phone. You can actually deactivate it after those 15 minutes, okay? In addition to that, you can also deactivate apps indefinitely, which has been really useful because what I've done is I deactivated some of those social media apps and moved them in a place on my phone to make it very difficult to actually find and actually get to that specific app. So that's another thing that you can do. There's also wind down mode where at a certain time you can actually turn the screen to grayscale so it doesn't look attractive to look at your phone, so you know that it's time to start going to sleep. So I set grayscale mode at 11 o'clock. For some of you, you may do it earlier, you may do it at 9 o'clock, you may do it at 10 o'clock, 10:30. Again, it's totally up to you. There's no hard rules or facts about this. You just have to see what works for you. So maybe activating digital well-being mode is the way for you to go. I think it's a fantastic way because if you don't want to get rid of the social media app, then this is a way to manage it. And again, you can turn it on and off at will, but the phone makes it difficult, or the settings make it difficult for you to just activate it back again. So try digital well-being mode or the equivalent on your phone. Now, the third thing you could do is just to delete the app. Okay, just get rid of it. Now, I know that sounds like a difficult thing for you to do, but you can actually delete the app. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying it's an option. So maybe try deleting it for 24 hours at least and see what happens. You know, if you don't want to deactivate it, maybe you want to delete it for the next week or so. So I can tell you what I've done. So I've done a combination of both deactivating and deleting. So the only app I have on my phone is Instagram. And the reason I have Instagram on my phone is because I do lives every Wednesday on Instagram. And so it's deactivated from Thursday up until Wednesday. And when it's time, I just reactivate it again. And then once I've done the live, I deactivate it. And if I want to check anything on Instagram, again, I go to tip number 1 and I just check it on my laptop if need be. What if people actually DM you? Ooh, that's a good question. So I go on my laptop, okay? I want to create this environment where I'm protecting my mental well-being, because there are times where social media depression or anxiety may really sort of try to eat its way through. And so you have to create systems, routines, behaviors, and habits that protect your well-being as well. So that's another thing you can do. You can actually delete the app if you don't want to deactivate it. Try it and see what happens. See how long you last. Maybe you want to do a delete your app challenge, or maybe you want to do an Instagram delete app challenge. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg would be happy with that. But maybe you want to try it out and see how long you can go for. Because again, this is all about your well-being as well. Now with the fourth tip, it's important to understand that in the first tip, I said you could use your laptop, but sometimes people get aggressive with using the laptop and start replacing how they use their phone with social media and replace that for what's on the laptop. So again, I like to mitigate some of these things. And what I have done is used 2 Chrome extensions. So there's Newsfeed Eradicator for Facebook. And effectively what that does is it blocks out the Facebook feed and it shows you a quote instead, which I find so beautiful and weird at the same time. So I found myself going onto Facebook thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna check out some sort of funny video. And then I see a nice quote from Les Brown or somebody else. And so it really distracts me from not wanting to go on the feed. Now the other Chrome extension that I use is Duhigg. And effectively what that does is it blocks the feed on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and it shows you your to-do list instead. So you can actually set up your own to-do list on this Chrome extension, and you can look at that rather than looking at someone's amazing achievements and all these amazing accolades that people have done. Okay, so we're trying to reduce the instances of you getting social media depression. Tip number 5 is remembering that as you are replacing your activity on your phone with social media and other stuff, you may want to replace it with something else. So if you remember in the habits video, I spoke about how Charles Duhigg mentions that there are cues, routines, and rewards. And sometimes there are craving rewards that create a habit loop. And so sometimes it's about replacing activity with another activity. So you may want to replace your social media activity with watching educational or motivational or elevating or entertaining videos on YouTube. Maybe you want to start reading a book, so you want to have your book by your side. Maybe you want to be in a situation where you actually commit to achieving some tasks on your to-do list. So think about how you can replace activities instead of focusing on, I haven't been on Facebook or Instagram for hours, you're going all crazy and stuff, like you need to take your hit. So think about how you can replace activities instead, because I think that's healthier. Maybe based on association, and again, this is a classic case of classical conditioning where you can replace one thing with another thing. You may want to do some press-ups instead every time you think about going on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is. So think of inventive ways that you can replace your activity on social media, as opposed to being depressed at the fact that you're not using it, or then going on it and just binging on it for like 7 hours straight with your eyes red and all veiny. That wouldn't be cool. What I realized when I actually committed to doing some of these stuff was that I was much more productive. I focused much more on the things that I needed to do, because I wasn't whining, complaining, and looking at other people and all this kind of jazz. I was focusing on the task ahead. Number 2, I was spending much more time with loved ones. And that felt really nice, because sometimes when you're working, and then you're also checking out social media and things that effectively waste your time, you don't get enough time to spend with your loved ones. And so you have more of an appreciation of what they're doing in their lives and how you can better support them as well. Number 3, my well-being was much better. So for those of you who know who Martin Seligman is, he is the godfather of positive psychology, and he talks about this framework called PERMA. And so with that in mind, my sense of well-being was improved by making sure that I had social media down to a minimum, or it was reduced at least, where it wasn't affecting my mood. And so with that in mind, these are some of the outcomes that you can look forward to as well if you want to go down this journey, if you're brave enough. If you're brave enough. Remembering this is so important, because if you can follow some of these steps, then you'll get to a place where you can start to be silent and still and understand what it is that you truly value in life. And so in the next video, I'm going to be focusing on your core values and how you can use your core values to really understand what your sense of purpose is. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can check out this next video. And as always, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.